And I'm stuck because I'm worried I'm going to have to recreate this whole thing inside the MC side. So I'll leave that with you. If there's a way that I can move that over and save myself a bunch of time, effort, and energy, that'd be great. Or am I going to have to start over again?
So you're going to have to start over in terms of opportunities that those don't transfer. The contact, you absolutely could export those and import those, and you would just have to then put them back into the correct phases and stages.
Okay. Because I was literally like, I've wasted 2 years of my life doing all of this, and my high D came out and went through and did all that. And,
Are you on a treadmill right now?
I'm on a treadmill desk.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. I was like, something is weird with your camera. And I was like, no, it's not your camera. It's you. You're on a treadmill. Okay.
You are having a stroke. No, I have a treadmill desk. And so
something is weird with him.
We all love Buck and his weirdness. I will say that. I wasn't really sure where the question was going. So thank you, Buck, for that lovely question.
Yeah, I literally was about to jump off the building after the international call today. When I saw them do that, I was like, oh my God, I've done this and I should have just waited, and holy crap, my life is over.
Well, I'm glad your life is not over.
We may need to.
You just need to hit the.
That's the plan, is that we're on board.
We'll keep an eye on him.
Jonathan is on. I think he's got some weird service, so he might jump in.
Yeah, preferably.
But first, I wanted to I'm going to mute everybody who's on here besides Kelly. So if you're not muted, please do so. I'm scrolling through, making sure you're all muted. Okay, perfect. So first, I want to thank Kelly for being on this call today. I know Paul is extremely grateful, thankful, excited to have her here today to work with you guys and share with you guys a little bit about Market Center Command or Command MC. And so Kelly, thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away. I will be here if you need anything, and Paul will be on here as well eventually. So Kelly, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi. Thank you all for letting me join you. This is honestly one of my favorite things that I get to do, is just spending time with leaders of our different regions. So thank you. I appreciate the offer. I don't have anything. I don't have a presentation. I have like monitors and whatnot, so I can do screen shares, but really wanted to make sure that I just got a chance to talk with all of you and answer questions that you have. If it works, I thought we might as well just kind of put it in the chat. If there's a lot, you can just start throwing your questions in there and we can go through them kind of one by one. The pipeline that we have now, as some of you have noticed, it is not opportunities, although of course it's very similar. And the same way that a recruit card is not exactly a contact card, but it's very similar. So if you have any questions on anything like that, let me know. We can certainly talk about any other issues that you might be experiencing in your market centers that I can answer or talk through with you. But this is really your time, so I'm here for all of you. All right, so does Command for MC show the utilization of Command for your agents, who's using it, how much, how many agents, etc.? So Keller Williams, Las Vegas, not exactly. So if you go into the agent applet, you'll see some information in there. Like you can see your agents, how many contacts they've each uploaded. You can see how many listings that they've put in. In my market center, originally we had turned those into badges, ways that agents could, it was just a digital badge originally. We, posted in our closed Facebook page of, hey, congratulations, you received the Silver Commander for having 500 contacts, or you received the Commander Elite for having an opportunity and a smart plan, things like that. So you can see a little bit of insight there. I personally like going to the vital signs report more, not the old classic one, but the new one. Each one of those that you click on actually shows you an entire list of your market center. And then you can say like the opportunities, and it'll show you exactly agent by agent, how many opportunities they have, how many smart plans they have, how many contacts they have. So a combination of the agents applet and vital signs right now should be able to get you that information. Is there something specific you're looking for? Keller Williams, Las Vegas? No?
Unmute yourselves if you're going to ask questions. It doesn't have to all be in the chat. Just throwing that out.
Oh, yes. Sorry, right. That definitely, we can have a conversation. Jonathan Dupree says the goal is to be at 100% adoption by the end of the year. I love that. I think that's a great regional goal. So Joe, you have a question about productivity coaching. Can I elaborate on what command functions the PC coach can be using in command, specifically in regard to lead distribution and tracking? So today, there isn't really anything special for productivity coaching above and beyond what team leaders, MCAs, and OPs can do. You know, what you see is what you get. There is going to be, and it looks like it's in the final stages now of approval, we are going to be giving some guidelines around how you can set up productivity coaching in your market center, so that basically, in a nutshell, creating a team for productivity coaching that's owned by the market center. So leads go to the market center. It's not attached to a human being, it's attached to the role, and being able to truly create that true dependent model. And then if you wanted, you could also have a second team created if you're looking for more of an interdependent model, and being able to set that up and having it not negatively impact the awards that would be generated and earned for those agents. That is, let's see here, I think it's gone past Gary's desk. I think it's just sitting on Ellen's desk. She was looking at it last week. So I'm expecting that to kind of hit the field any day now. And that, of course, is the stopgap measure while we build out Command MC on the back end. But coaching is a few rungs down on that ladder. So we want to make sure we have something for you today to use while we're getting that finalized. Anything else, Joe, with regards to productivity coaching that I might be able to answer?
No, Kelly, that's super helpful knowing that they're working on some additional layers, and even just being able to set it up like a team will make lead distribution and management obviously a lot easier from that perspective. So it's exciting to hear that there's more to come, and I appreciate you doing this call today. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Sabrina says more percentage base. I'm not quite sure what that means, Sabrina. So if you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was under Keller Williams Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Me. So we were looking for more of like a percentage reporting of like how much all of our agents are actually using Command, because our goal is also to get to 100%. So I wasn't sure if there was a way to do that and then pinpoint who isn't using it or who isn't using it at its fullest potential. So that way we can kind of help coach those people and figure out what resources we need to send their way.
Very cool. Have you gone and taken a look at the vital signs report on MyKW yet?
I have not personally, no.
Okay, that is where I would absolutely start off. And I was just typing it in so I could theoretically show you all what that looks like. So give me a second to screen share. And we're just gonna have to be super patient while the online reports load. But right, basically it's just when you go to MyKW and you click on the reports and then you wait like 17, 18 years for it to load. And then once it pops up, vital signs, again, the new one, we had an old vital signs report that still exists under classic. You know, and it's just not happening. So when you've got a second, Sabrina, go ahead and take a look at that, the vital signs, and it does lay out all of the different areas. It gives you a rank, like a score for your market center of, hey, you're at a 3 out of 10, or you're a 57 out of 100. And then you can click on each of those and it'll give you the full roster of every single person in your market center and how much they're each using it. And it's finally loading. So I'm going to see if I can pull this up in the meantime. But that's one of the ones that I favorited so that I can keep coming back to it easily and frequently. Yeah. So definitely recommend taking a look at that for sure. And then while that's loading, I'm going to keep going to the next question and I'll just show that back when it pops up. So Leah, when adding the recruits, should they be added under the TL's login? And is there a way for all of the leadership to view? So this is, thank you. This is actually one of my favorite things about it. This pipeline does not belong to the team leader. It does not belong to the MCA. It belongs to the market center. So any leadership position, those are the 6 of the OP, TL, assistant TL, MCA, assistant MCA, and productivity coach. Those 6 automatically get access to the recruits applet when they log in as themselves, as long as they're set up correctly in the white pages. Additionally, anybody else on your staff or your recruiting team will get access to that exact same thing when you name them as a market center leader in the white pages. And that is, yes, that means I put in a recruit because I had a call with them and my team leader can see it. And my team leader checked off an item on the checklist and my OP can see it. It also means that I, as an MCA or a team leader, do not have the power to delete a contact or a recruit, rather, in this case, because they're not mine to delete. They belong to the market center. Does that make sense?
Those
Can I
positions
ask?
again?
I'm sorry, that was cutting up a little bit. What was that?
Would you please repeat the titles? The
Yeah,
six?
so it's just the big six: the OP, the TL, the assistant TL, the MCA, the assistant MCA, and the PC. And then additionally, anybody who's given the role of market center leader. And we did a video on that one last week on the recruiting pipeline KW Connect page. So it literally takes less than 45 seconds to just mark off somebody in your market center as a market center leader. And I do want to quickly show you, because that report has finally opened up. So Sabrina, this is what I was talking about, where I can say, hey, I have 340 agents in this market center, and here's how many cappers and with downlines. Every single one of these is a link. So I can absolutely click on percentage of agents using smart plans and see exactly which of those agents have them and how many. Same thing with the contacts. I can see how many, 280 agents have contacts, I can see exactly who has how many. So really cool report here for you. And then also to your question, I'm sorry, I want to say your name was Heather, but I'm perfect. Okay, because the names, when I'm sharing my screen, I lose track. I don't get to see names. So I can come in here and I'll go ahead and pick my card. And what I'm about to do is just go into the details record. And this is a really good thing for at least one person on your leadership team to check. And that's because sometimes the roles, especially productivity coach, might have been given to somebody a few years ago and we forgot to let the region know to remove it, right? Or it's something just, there was mixed communication. And so what you can do is you can come in here, and there's a few different ways to look at it, but the assignee is what I wanted to show you. Take a look at the list of assignees in your market center. And if any name on here shouldn't be on here, immediately check their white pages for role permission and then reach out to your region. Because those big 6 roles cannot be removed by us. They have to be done by the region. But that's a good one. Some people are like, that person left our office and like they were a PC and they became a team leader in a different market center years ago, and they have access to your recruiting pipeline today.
Kelly, can I ask just a follow-up to that based on what we talked about earlier? So I started this morning during the international call moving them just sort of manually from my command pipeline into the MC one. And in that drop down, you know, with all the custom tags that are built in there, are we going to have the opportunity to manipulate those tags? And the reason for that being is if there's some people that have been on a team, left the team, got back into the pipeline in a different way, are we going to have the ability to manipulate that? And then the follow-up to that, sorry, there's 2 in 1, is when I do the mass export that we talked about earlier to re-import, are any of those values preserved, or do those also have to be recreated?
So if you've created a tag, for example, so I guess to Emily answer the first question, yes, absolutely, you can already manipulate those.
Okay.
There are system tags already created, like Mega, Capper, and then of course we have the R1 and R2 labels, production labels that are required to put somebody in the pipeline. So right, any tags, we are suggesting, because they are market center tags, and I don't know about you all, but in my previous market center, we used Broker Kit. We had 4 tags that basically meant like that were for Facebook, because one of us had created an FB tag, one person had created Facebook tag lowercase, somebody had created Facebook uppercase, and I think the 4th one was like face and then book. Like we had 4 tags that all meant the same thing. So my suggestion is, and we're going to be talking about this as one of the big goals for next week, is as a group, come up together as a leadership team, what are the tags you want, and then pick one person on your staff whose job is to create those tags, and to be super careful on spelling errors, because just like everything else, right, we give you the ability to create and we haven't yet given you the ability to edit or delete. So on these initial creation of the tags, just be careful. You will be able to edit them soon, just not today, but you can absolutely create them as much as you need. You also have the ability to create custom brokerages and custom lead sources.
I found that this morning, yeah, that when I was typing in one of the locals. So then with the assignment, like I've got them on the opportunities side, you know, so when they move through, I've got them just all as buyers, right, at this point, so I can track them in place of potential company dollar. Well, those, and so they're assigned a full cap dollar amount or a half cap dollar amount or whatever. will those tags carry over, or should I just plan to re-input that?
So those aren't tags, those are actual spaces within a recruit card. So when it comes to, you can't do a full out export and just straight in import, because I mean, you think about it, we have things like production status on a recruit card that just doesn't exist on the agent side. So it's going to be a matter of exporting and then copying and pasting the columns. And you're going to see one of the columns does say projected company dollar. And so that way, when you're inside of the recruiting pipeline at each stage down at the bottom, you know, actually, let me share my screen and show you. Down at the bottom of every single one of those, it shows you how much projected company dollar is in each stage. Just like, come on, just down here. So you can see this one has a potential 30,000. This one has potential 0 because we put in 0 company dollars when we put this one in. It's another good test of, well, that's me, so it actually was one of our tests. But yeah, like if this is 0 and you've got people in there, confirm, just check through, make sure that you've got all the data that you're supposed to have on those. I've also seen a market center, which I thought was genius, created a tag called unfinished, and they applied that to every single recruit when they brought them in. And that way they were able to filter and say, just show me unfinished recruits. And then they were able to, you know, whenever staff member had a couple of minutes between calls, was able to go in and finish up the unfinished and then delete that tag from that recruit card. I was like, that is super smart.
Thank you. That's super helpful. Super, super helpful.
Yeah. Let's see here from Sabrina. What are the biggest benefits of market centers for Command? Is there the ability for us to add our agents to smart plans within Command? So Sabrina, not today. Smart plans and tasks are coming together, and we can expect to have those later this year. In the meantime, Command MC obviously has been primarily used for compliance and commissions for over a year now, or has been able to be used for over a year now. And recruiting is the first applet that we're really working on outside of opportunities. After recruiting, this is where onboarding is going to go. That's coming next. And then after onboarding is going to be agent maintenance. And yes, you absolutely will be able to do smart plans. Something else that exists today kind of in that same vein is this 4th phase up here, this committed phase. This market center had obviously the join in process and joined. Those are the standard stages that Keller Williams created for you. But this market center is going to start doing their onboarding here inside of Command, and they're building out their 30, 60, 90, so that after an agent joins, they're going to move them through, and here's the first 30 days, and there's going to be checklists, and here's the next 30 and the final 30, until they consider to have an agent truly onboarded to the market center. So that's something that you absolutely can also do today, and is certainly a strong advantage.
Is that more for internal usage versus the agent being onboarded? The onboarding process?
So, because right, we do use the word onboarded to mean like 17 different things in this company. That in my head is an agent has actually joined the market center. The committed phase is where they can say, yes, I truly have committed to join. Some states, I don't know about you all, but I found out, I think it's Kansas, you still have to physically sign a piece of paper and physically mail it to the state, and the state has to physically process it before a license can be transferred. Mm-hmm. I'm from California originally. It's a 30-second website switchover. So inside of that committed, we do have a join in process for market centers, even if it's a quick transfer over, maybe they have listings that they're transferring. Maybe they just need to close out, one last deal before they start the new stuff. Whatever that is, your market center can use that today to create those custom checklists. And then if you wanted to build out your agent onboarding, your agent intake process in your first 100 days, 90 days, whatever that is, you absolutely can do that today as well. That is an option. Okay, Melissa, you know that this isn't Command, and can I tell what metrics give the agents with a listing on the vital signs, i.e. the listing in KWLS, Cloudmore, etc.? I have no idea. That's a really good question. Whenever anybody has questions about the reports and what makes up a report, email reports@kw.com. and just say, hi, I'm looking on this report and what the heck does this mean? What makes up this metric? So again, reports@kwri.com, and they should be able to answer that for you. Yes, CJ, to confirm, we are 100% building everything out inside of Command MC, not the team leader's account. I don't know about you all. I've been with Keller Williams for just over 11 years now, and I've had a handful of team leaders in my time, and every single team leader basically was starting from scratch because the previous team leaders database was gone. We didn't know the access codes. Who knew what had happened? That is never going to happen again to another team leader. Every single team leader is going to be able to walk in with pre-existing knowledge, that sort of institutionalized knowledge that would exist over time. Even if it's, hey, we met with this person, they just weren't interested, we're going to put them in Cultivate, but we can still have notes attached to that. 2 years down the road, something might change. You might have different leadership in place, and they're still going to have access to that information. Really excited about that. From Heather, a similar question as CJ. You notice that your team can see what's in Command MC. However, is there another master account we ought to be using? Nope, that is the master account. The only like master account would be the OP's account, and that's because the OP is going to be able to do a couple of things that the rest of leadership won't be able to do. So for example, Heather, if an agent that you've been talking with, they end up actually moving out of state, right? They truly have dropped out of your recruit management. Or you know, sadly enough, they might pass away. Like there's an actual legitimate reason to delete this person from your database. A team leader or an MCA is going to be able to say, hey, we want this person deleted, actually fully removed, and here's why. And then the OP will be the person who gets to check that off. So it'll be a two-part process of request and acceptance of removing somebody from the recruit management. Now the pipeline, you can move somebody out of your pipeline left and right. That's not the issue. It's just the fact that we're not losing those contacts, right? We don't want to get rid of that data that we've built over time.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Just going through here. Okay. Melissa, I have agents that have been with our market center for a while, and they've showed up in the committed under joined. They are agents with us already. Can I remove them from the pipeline? Yep, absolutely, 100%. If you say that they've been with you for a while, that might be one of those conversations to have with your team, that while we're building out the agent's applet on the back end and the onboarding, if they've been with you for a while, isn't over a month, maybe your market center wants to put some of those checklists in place for the onboarding or transitioning process. If they've been with you for a while, you can absolutely remove them from your pipeline. Again, removing them from the pipeline does not remove them from the recruit management. And so that'll just be something that when we get the agent side built out, you'll be able to request that those people be deleted from the recruit's applet. Let's see here. From Jonathan, get your agents using at least 3 applets and they won't leave you. Yes, that is true. Right, we found the most sticky applets are contacts, opportunities, and campaigns. If you can get your agents using contacts, opportunities, and campaigns, there's something like a 96% of those agents stay with their market center each year. So that's a good number. Patty, is Market Center Command integrated with Broker Metrics or MLS showing time? So not today. However, we are in conversation with Broker Metrics, whether with Terradatum, to have market centers that have a Broker Metrics account be able to have that automatically attached and be always updating on a recruit card. Because right now you'll see the production, it's static, right? I enter it in today. We don't talk to this agent for 8 months. Maybe they wasn't the right time for them. And now when we go back up, we only see what their production was 8 months ago. So we are absolutely looking to partner with Broker Metrics so that we can have, you would still need a Broker Metrics account to be able to get the information, but you wouldn't have to leave Command MC to get that information all the time. So, yeah, I'm excited about that one too. There's some good stuff coming our way soon. From Heather, will there be a way to make the compliance statuses editable for each market center? Yes, that is on our list, although I'm going to be honest, it is On the ladder of priorities, top priority is letting agents submit a second request or a third request or a fourth request for commissions when a new buyer comes in, right? When there's a new property. And then also, of course, letting agents make changes to their commissions without having to have a new opportunity. And then the third one is having market centers be able to customize what's mandatory and what's not mandatory on the commissions and compliance side, commissions specifically. And then we're talking about making some editable or customizable compliance statuses. So it is on the roadmap, but I don't want to get your hopes up to expect it in a month, because that's just not happening that soon. Jonathan and Debbie think something's a game changer. Not sure what, you typed that when I was talking at some point, not sure what, but I'm glad you're excited. From Chris, will there be a way for non-leadership agents to refer prospects to us through command? Yes. So we started that process already. So today, let's say one of your ALC members refers a client to you. They don't have a way of doing that in the system yet. But what they do get, and let me go ahead and share this, is I'm going to go into Renee Norrie's card, and I'm going to click on the view details. And you can do this when you create the recruit in the first place too. But once I come in here, I can come and say that my lead source is, and if I say referral, it's now going to give me another box saying who's the referral. So just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and say that it is Chris Altman, who clearly is not in the San Jose Market Center, right? And yet, here you go. It has every single associate in all of Keller Williams with their email address, because we do know that there are people with, for example, there are 2 Kelly Cotes in the company. And so this way you can make sure that you're always tracking it with the right person. And then I can absolutely put in a second, a third, a fourth name. Let's go ahead and put in Jonathan Dupree. And there we go. And so now so that's where it ends today. Next week, so next Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to happen that whenever we move this recruit card, Renee, through the different phases, that Jonathan and Chris would be given an automatic update from the system of saying, hey, just wanted to let you know, we appreciate you referring this person to us, something like that, but letting them know we're moving them through and we're doing that. So that's the next, and that's coming next week. And then the final step in that is going to be a way for an agent to actively, from their own command system, give a referral to a leader. So it's a multi-step process, and we are more than halfway through it. So questions for me on that, though?
So by the end of the year, that'll be completed, you think, Kelly?
Probably not, because that's going to require work on both the agent command side and the leadership command side, and the agent command side has a few more pressing issues that they have to address first.
Okay.
I'm sure, not a surprise to any of you, I'm sure teams, right? Like that needs to be working and functioning and solid. Yeah, right. Let's see here. Plaid Dad, I like your name, sorry. I'd like to be able to build out the Market Center website. However, the drop-down menu in sites is giving incorrect Market Center. Oh, so what I want you to do, either Plaid Dad or somebody else in your leadership team, send an email to mcasupport@kw.com and let them know that incorrect Market Center information is showing up on your site's applet. That is, it's like a 5-minute fix on their end, if I remember correctly from the last time someone said this. So it should be a pretty quick thing for them to fix. So again, mcasupport@kw.com.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And that's the last question in chat. So you guys are either being really easy on me, or we're getting all of your questions answered in other places too.
Hey, Buck, are you there, mate?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Good, good. I don't know if Buck's on, but I just wanted to ask, he texted me a question. He said he's got a concern with smart plans that he's created, and he's concerned that he's going to have to wipe his entire database so that he doesn't get 3 sets of notifications.
So without being able to see a heck of a lot of this. So he's talking on the agent side of Command, because smart plans don't exist in Command MC yet. Although if anybody is, I just want to sidetrack, if anybody is creating leadership smart plans, you can go and put them into the shared library. You're going to have a role associated with you as the person that says, hey, this is also a leadership position. And so a pop-up is going to show up just for you. The agents don't see it, and it's going to say, hey, is this for agents or is this for leadership? If it's for leadership, go ahead and flag that one. And what we're going to do is we're pulling it out. We're not publishing it to the agents, and we're going to hold it until the smart plan shared library releases for the leadership side. And so that way, when it does release, it's going to release with dozens, if not hundreds of smart plans that you all have already created. So a little plug for that one. But you're saying that on the agent side, somebody has a smart plan and they're receiving 3 notifications per smart plan? Am I understanding that correctly, Paul?
Right. So I guess he's saying he doesn't want to, he doesn't want the agent to receive multiple notifications from the agent side as well as the leadership side. Because as of right now, he's got his database in the agent side of things. Does that make sense?
I know it's you being difficult again, sorry.
Oh, it's you. Okay, of course it's you. Yes, let's.
I had to step away and answer a question. So
right.
That didn't take long.
None of my answers are any good. That's why they don't take long. No, to Paul's point, my issue now is that, I've got 3 or 4 different smart plans running, and they're at different stages. And so is it best for me to kind of just wipe that all out and start over again in anticipation of the recruiting side of this having its own smart plans? Like, I don't want somebody to get so fed up with receiving notifications. Do I just start over again?
Okay, I hear what you're saying. So how are you using smart plans currently? Are they for people in your pipeline or are they for long-term nurture?
Both. I've got the ones that have either been like in regular communication. So as soon as, like, if they meet with me, as soon as we walk out of my office, the text goes out. They go on that smart plan, the text touch, hey, great to meet with you, all templated. Then a couple days later, they go on the, it's the neighborhood touch one, but I've amended everything, right? And then the next follow-up piece on that is just kind of the tickles that I've got built into that thing. But most of it's automated, right? And they're categorical based on how I know them.
Right, and that's the beautiful thing about smart plans is right. It is so much of it is automated. Buck, you might want to hold off on importing your entire database quite yet, because again, smart plans are potentially, not coming out until earliest to be the end of next month. And I would not obviously want your entire database to not hear from you for the next 6 weeks, right? Like that's not going to do anybody any good. So you might want to, at least for those, especially for those long-term nurtures, keep those going on the smart plans that you have. And maybe bringing over your very active pipeline to kind of play around with it and make sure you've got that. And right now, checklists are a little bit more powerful than smart plans. I do also want to let you know that when smart plans come out on the leadership side, they're going to have a bit more flexibility, and I guess you could actually power than the agent ones do. We do what we can to kind of protect agents from themselves sometimes, and I feel like a lot of you probably know what I'm talking on that. We don't let them spam their clients with 30 emails a day. Like you can't make a smart plan to do that. And on the leadership side, we recognize that you all are a bit more sophisticated when it comes to communicating with your database. And so we're removing a lot of those hindrances that might exist on the agent side. So FYI, that's great. And in the meantime, checklists are kind of where the power is on the recruiting side. So sorry if that didn't quite answer your question, but I would give that some consideration. If you're really using smart plans a lot, I don't want you to be disappointed in what Command MC offers today. You might want to wait to bring over all those people until you have the full one. And part of why it's taking a little bit longer to get this, and so this will be interesting. If you have anybody, I'm just curious, I do see a lot of, I'm just curious, raise your hand for me if you are an agent and a leader. You have a real estate license, you do agent business, and you're in leadership. Okay. Same thing if you are a leadership position in more than one market center. OP of 2, PC of 1, PC in another. Okay. So for everybody who's raised your hands on the last 2, this is going to affect you. we are creating a place for you to have a different marketing profile for each role and each market center where you are a member. So that means that when you are going to in the future do, let's say, a campaign in Command MC, those leads are going to be routed to your leadership role, as opposed to doing a campaign inside of your agent business and you're not quite sure if the lead is real estate business or if it's market center business. Being able to also divvy up different phone numbers, different email addresses, truly segregating your real estate business from your leadership market center business. And so we have to finish that up before we can finish up smart plans and tasks. So that's why there's just a bit of a delay there. It's a good thing that we're doing it. The delay, of course, is unfortunate, but it's best at the end. Especially the Louisiana boys. They're very, very sophisticated. Sorry, that was a comment from Jonathan Dupree. So triggers for Market Center Smart Plans. Yes, there will be triggers, both starting triggers and ending triggers, sort of like an if-then. So if somebody responds to a text from a smart plan, you can have it where that smart plan then stops. So they don't keep getting text messages saying, hey, I really want to speak to you. And they're like, we spoke yesterday. What are you talking about, right? So there will be both starting and ending triggers inside of the leadership smart plans. Being able to customize market center sites. So you can to some degree today, although it is minimal. I know it's basically swapping out some pictures, bringing in some different neighborhoods, not a heck of a lot more to that. That is pretty low on the totem pole, full transparency of everything that we know we need to build out for our market centers. Websites is a little bit lower down. So I don't want to say no, because yes, obviously someday it will happen. I haven't even seen that on the roadmap. So that's not for the foreseeable future.
Kelly, let me ask you, what would be the top 3 recommendations to kind of prepare for kind of the opening of all this to best position themselves for each market center?
Yeah, so if you're following along with us in the growth initiative or the growth calls every Monday, we're giving you and your leadership teams kind of like a homework assignment each week, right? So last week was just to make sure that everybody in your market center does have access, that those who should do, that those who shouldn't don't. And then having each person on your leadership team create a recruit, make sure that everybody knows how to do it, can do it correctly. And my suggestion was to make themselves a recruit, which is why you saw my name in this market center. I'm a big fan of testing things out on myself before I test them out on a real life agent, right? So being able to make sure, like, does the email look the way I thought it was going to, does this happen the way I expected it to? So that was last week's homework. So if you haven't done that, definitely catch up. And this week is all about customizing checklists and customizing your stages. And we have videos for those. I was told about an hour ago that those videos are going to be uploaded tomorrow morning. And all of those are going to be on the recruiting pipeline, like getting started with recruiting pipeline on KW Connect. Actually, let me share that link with you all in chat just so that you have it. There you go. So that is where all of the videos are going to be put. That's where there's going to be links to different help articles on answers.kw. So we're putting all of your recruiting pipeline resources in one place for you. Yeah, Paul, right? Those are the 3 right now. So you're from Shane Cooper Blazat. So you've got 2 market centers that are sort of merging. 80 plus agents are coming over. How long will they be able to access their old opportunities? And is there any option other than them having to recreate every opportunity? So there's a couple of things that play there, Shane. So market center, so agents at market center A going over to market center B. And this is going to be true no matter what the reason is, whether if it's a merge or if it's an agent moves or whatever it is, the agent is in both Win-More systems for a period of time. And during that time, whenever they create a new opportunity, they will have a drop down that lets them pick which market center the opportunity is associated with. The suggestion, obviously, unless they are truly a dual agent where maybe they have their real estate license in Arizona and a real estate license in New Mexico. So they're truly dual. But if they're just in one, obviously create new opportunities under the new market center. The ones with existing paperwork, as long as the market center itself is not closing before the expected close of escrow, they should be fine to continue closing that out with the previous market center. They'll have access to both of those, and right, that'll function the way it should. It's more of those long-term ones, like if an agent has somebody in their cultivate phase where they could be in there for 6 months to a couple of years, right? Those are the ones that today they would need to recreate. However, we do have a project going on right now where we are going to be setting it up where an agent can say, hi, this opportunity, I want it transferred to this market center, this one to here, being able to transfer it, be up until paperwork is submitted or a commission request is submitted. After that fact, the paperwork for liability and legal reasons stay with the market center. And so a new opportunity would truly have to be recreated if a brand new listing agreement or brand new purchase agreement is signed under the new brokerage name.
So the question we're having is the agents that are coming over with existing opportunities at the old market center,
right?
Those opportunities are going to belong to the new market center.
Yep. So that's the last part that I said is today, that means that they will need to recreate those opportunities. Like I said, we're working on a way for them to be able to have hey, I just want the whole opportunity transferred from market center A to market center B. We started getting really serious about that about a week and a half ago. I mean, of a team like truly dedicated to that. So it's still at least a few weeks out.
Do we know, will they be able to access the old room still under DocuSign?
Yes.
Or will they have to, so that'll make it a little easier then.
Well, so that's going to be something that your market center, and definitely speak with your broker. Some brokers use their DocuSign admin at a very high level, and so that wouldn't work. Other market centers are like, no, we don't touch DocuSign. That's for the agents we review inside of Command. So depending upon your market center and how you handle it, that might work and it might not. Only you would know that. Paul, yeah, so the link that I sent, it is behind a flag where only people with specific leadership roles can access it. So if you don't have access to that, or somebody on your team should and can't, the KW Connect link, reach out to your market center leadership or your regional leadership and see if you can get that squared away. Oh, and yes, you do need to, you're right, you need to be logged in, and you need to be logged in with somebody who has the correct permissions to view it. Any other questions? You guys are quiet. Okay.
If no one has any questions, we'll just go ahead and wrap this up. Go ahead.
And so I'm sorry, because part of this is that I'm just getting into Command myself from this side of it. So I apologize if this is something that everybody already knows. And we're using the demo account in our market center for that purpose, to try and keep it separate for some of our leadership team who does have sales teams.
Right.
Is that where we should be using Market Center Command, or is there a different login, or?
Yeah, my market center, we used the demo account. We actually used it for retention purposes. We wanted to really play around with it. It was great. But no, the demo account is looked at by the system as if it's an agent. So the demo account will never have access to Command MC, nor should they, right? So Command MC is you logging in as yourself, Ashley, and the rest of your leadership team logging in as themselves, and all being able to access the same data.
So I need to log in like myself, and then when I do that, okay, gotcha. So
yeah. You'll see at the top, it'll say Command Connect and then Command MC.
And then that's where we'll have to pull everything from our demo account that we've been adding, like what Buck's been talking about with his own personal.
Yep, and so that, again, that's an easy thing to be able to export out of Command. Copy and paste a couple of columns, import it into Command MC.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
Of course. CJ just unmuted herself. Do you have anything, CJ?
Well, you may not want me to ask questions.
We're here for it. Ask away.
So when is the timeline for it? Because I know they're giving us homework every single week as far as
Yes.
team leaders and all that. When's the timeline that we're going to have access to, or we have built in recruiting plans in the Market Center command?
So as of this past Friday, that is going to be the end of November.
Okay.
Right. That always, like anything else, if we get that to our labbers and they're like, nope, not ready for prime time, it will not be released. But as of at least last Friday, we're looking at the end of November for that.
Okay. And follow-up question. I went through and started clicking on add recruits, recruits, right? So, and I went on and I probably have, I don't know, 6,000.
Okay.
When should we dump those and put, like,
Yeah.
When should we do this?
Yeah. So I want to be clear again, nobody in your market center today can delete those, right? In the future, you'll be able to request that your OP delete them. So what we are doing in the meantime is people like yourself and people like me, who I was practicing out with like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, like just like fake cards, just making sure I understood the process. I don't want that muddying up my market center's pipeline. So what we are allowing each market center is a one-time wipe. If your market center wants to take advantage of this one-time recruiting wipe, email mcasupport@kw.com. And they're going through about once a week and deleting everybody who's requested it in that time period. Right, that is just yep, we'll clean out whoever you had in there previously and you can start fresh.
So then if we do a one-time wipe now, can we take agents from Brokermetrics and upload them now?
You physically can. I would not personally recommend that. Right.
So in my brain, I'm waiting until that all can happen miraculously.
So what I would suggest is going through with what we're doing. If it helps, I'm the one who built out those weekly things. That was sort of my suggestion, and Matt and Mark were like, "Looks great. Let's do it." That was just for me of how I was planning on doing it with my own leadership team. Of I want to make sure that what we're doing is right, that we're not getting ahead of ourselves, that we're not, because we were the ones who were about to import literally 16,000 contacts into the recruit management, and then realizing, wait a second, the recruit cards are still being added to. Like you'll notice there isn't a needs analysis button in there yet. There will be, right? So we could either import everybody and then manually update 16,000 recruits. As I was like, that's not happening. Like that's not happening. We have better ways to spend our time than manually updating 16,000 recruit cards. So I was like, okay, we're probably not the only market center like that. So let's start off with just ourselves, putting ourselves in there for testing. Okay, after we've got that, we're gonna make sure that again, like what we're doing this week, making sure that it's truly specific to our market center. If you're in a market center that does pre-licensees or has a real estate school, you'll notice there's no stages for that, right? You get to customize those for your market center. I believe I have everybody bringing in or suggested bringing in your database in like 5 weeks, I think is when I have that scheduled, right around Thanksgiving. All right, so right now it's just bringing in actual recruits or tests into your pipeline to start playing around with it. We want to know sooner rather than later things that need to be fixed, if there's any kind of bugs or glitches. And so if everybody in the company, like Josh said this morning, if everybody just brought in like 5 to 10, I think he said a dozen at one point, just bring in a couple of recruits into the recruit pipeline and play around with it, we'll know what we need to fix on our end to make it work for you.
Great.
I need you to tell me that it's okay to not have 100 people in my recruiting pipeline. I just need you to say it out loud once so I can sleep tonight. Will you just say that for me so I can go to bed?
So I'm going to preface this with I'm not your OP, so okay.
They're on the other side. I got 16,000 on the other side. If I log into the recruiting pipeline and I see 4 people in there, it makes me have a nervous tick. So
because you've got your recruiting pipeline and opportunities. So you've got your real recruiting pipeline. The Command MC one for you for the next couple of weeks is going to be the place where you and your entire leadership team is getting used to it. I don't know about you all, but my front desk and my agent services, they did a lot with recruiting. I mean, they were very involved in the process in terms of sending out emails the day before, especially now making sure that Zoom links are sent out, getting appointments set up with our team leader. I mean, they're really involved in the process. Now is your chance to make sure that they stay involved in that process and that they have access and can do what they need to do inside of Command MC. And if you're in a market center where it's not, and it's not a team sport and it's all of it's on your shoulders, now's your chance to change that.
Hey, Kelly. I use my agent side of Command for recruiting, like Buck has indicated, and I think many of us on this call do already. When I first arrived in this role, I was using Command MC and realized that it was like,
it wasn't for, yeah.
Okay, moving to the other side. So I have about 105 people in there, and frankly, it's very incomplete. And I'm just sort of like, do I request the one-time wipe, or do I, like, I'm wrestling with time and like so I'd love your advice.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, and again, this is going to be unique to everybody. My personal choice, and it comes down to, if you've got a lot of people in your active recruit and your appointment phases, Command MC is great. It's checklist based. Here, I'll actually show you what that means. That I can come in, and you're not going to get anything off of this because I don't have any assigned to me, but I can come in and I can say every single morning, I can filter out my list and say, okay, who am I supposed to contact today? What tasks do I have today? Apply. And it would show me either here on this view or the same thing on recruit management. If I just want a list of everybody, it's going to show me who I need to contact today. Like, I love that. I can come in and I can do the same thing and show me who am I supposed to contact tomorrow. Or my personal favorite, who doesn't have a task assigned to them yet? Who is slipping through the cracks and I didn't even realize it, and holy smokes, it's basically my entire recruiting database, right? My entire recruiting pipeline has no checklist followed up. That is not okay. And so this is telling me I need to go through each of these and I need to actually say, okay, this person is getting a team leader follow-up from Laura Gleason. Actually, let me change it to my name so it'll show up this way. And it is going to be due tomorrow. And there we go. So now there is a checklist assigned to this person. And if I come in here and I say, show me my filters for who I'm supposed to be contacting tomorrow, all of a sudden, I'm going to now be able to see, here's who I'm contacting. And I love this, being able to just come in every single morning, kind of like the agents do, right? They've got their list of, they've got 2 hours of lead generation, and who are they supposed to be following up with, and who are they supposed to be calling? We now have the same thing for ourselves. Just let me start off my morning with who I'm supposed to be following up with, and I've got it. It's right there on one page. So I love that. But if you've got a lot of people, Heather, CJ, anybody else with this question, if you have a lot of people in Cultivate where you want those automated texts, those automated emails, Command MC does not do that today, and it won't do that until at least the end of November. I would say leave those in Command and let that cultivation machine just work on the back end for you until they're like, yep, I'm ready to talk with you.
That's what I was thinking about, bringing them in when either they set an appointment or they've held the appointment.
Yeah, I would agree. I would probably bring them in at the setting appointment phase, just so that, again, you can make sure that your entire leadership team is getting in early, because we know it's going to take a little bit of time for everybody to get in sync, and somebody on your team is going to have a really good idea that you didn't have when it comes to checklists and what needs to be happening. Let that happen now, right? Instead of 3 months from now.
Okay.
So that's my best advice, is if you've got somebody that you're actively in communication with, actively recruiting, I would put them in. But if you've got people on those long-term nurtures, smart plans, don't take them off yet. You don't want to lose that momentum that you need.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Kelly, I have a question. I'm a broker kit person. I love how...
Oh, same here. I've used them all, but broker kit most recently.
Right. So one of the things that I love is I can attack, like, let's say all Cobalt Banker agents,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And so I'm not blasting anything out to anybody else. It's just Cobalt Banker.
Right.
Are we going to have that, or is that a tag that we need to create?
Yeah, so that already exists, of being able to say, hey, show me all of my Coldwell Banker, show me all of my Remax, show me all of my whomever. What we don't have is the ability to be able to blast email them yet, right? That's because, remember, I said we're working on creating those marketing profiles so that you as a leader have a profile in this market center, and then you as an agent or you as a leader in a different market center. A lot of states have very strict requirements around making sure that brokerage names are correctly applied on anything that, communication. So we just have to finish getting that all worked out. And then, yes, absolutely. And the tags are already in place. So as you're bringing people in with those it's a brokerage, not even here, let me show you. So as opposed to being a specific tag where it's, something that applies in a moment, I can come into Renee's card. And again, and then under brokerage, the largest 9 brokerages across the United States and Canada, when I say largest, I mean geographic footprint where our market centers are located, those already exist here. So I can come in and tags, Instagram, sales metrics, work history, here we go. So under here, these are the brokerages that already exist, right? These are the 9. However, you absolutely have companies in your area that are not one of these 9. And so you can just start typing, and I'm going to put in Sereno Group because that's where this market center is. And you can see, hey, that's not an existing brokerage. All I have to do is click add Sereno Group and we're done.
So you would add those before you did a major influx?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, 100%.
Okay. So add those under work history brokerage before you upload everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you can do the same thing with your lead sources up here, that we gave you some basic lead sources. I think it's like the 10 that are in recruiting great agents, the top 10 sources. And then you can see below that, this market center, I started putting in a couple of other lead sources. So the same way that I was able to easily add a custom brokerage, I can easily add a custom lead source today. And that's where I'm saying, talk as a team, figure out your lead sources, and then pick one person on the team and only one to type those in, or you're going to end up like we did with 4 different things that all mean Facebook. Okay, we've got a couple more questions in chat. I want to make sure I get through these. Let's see here. Is there a workaround for tasks for different staff? So I'm not
Kelly,
sure.
that was me.
Yeah, what you mean by a workaround?
I think you kind of explained it. So until tasks are really working and showing up in like our dashboard, the best way to see them that are assigned to people is by filtering.
Gotcha. Okay, so I also want to make sure we're not getting confused. Tasks and checklist items are 2 different things. So we have checklist items within the recruiting pipeline, and that's what I was showing you and how I can filter by those. We are also building out tasks on the back end, which is where you would be able to see all of your tasks from all of your smart plans that are due, all of your tasks from all of your checklist items, any additional tasks that you might have assigned to yourself, like, prepare the bold wall for a bold launch tomorrow, like all of your tasks. And yes, being able to have those on your leadership applet side, not your agent side. So again, segregating those out. That is not yet, right? Smart plans and tasks at the earliest will be at the end of next month.
Okay.
Okay, and then Plaid Dad Bill Rosen, is there a place to put our top 20% so that we can track the tech audits we are doing with them? So we are building out the audits right now, not just the tech audit, but all 6 conversations of what does that look like? How does that work? We have our leadership and labs group going through that with us now to see how much customization is needed and warranted and what would be good for, like a first launch, what's the bare minimum that we need? What does it look like long-term? So that will exist. In the meantime, I would say put those in the notes section of a recruit card. I have to say, I'm impressed. You guys had some really great questions today. So thank you so much for keeping those. I'm going to go ahead and put my email address and cell phone in chat. Paul is always your first point of reference for questions. Just kind of consider me a backup resource that you have in case there's anything specific that you think of. But thank you again for this invite, Paul. This was really great.
Kelly, thank you so much. You're such a wealth of resource, and you always give with such a big heart, and we're so thankful as a region. As you guys saw, it's kind of unfolding. Here's the deal. Chris Altman from Biltmore, he's a tech driver. He's also a broker. He and I are going to be hosting these weekly calls on Command MC training for 30 minutes for the next 3 weeks. So what we'd like you to do is do some homework, put those 3 action plays into play. And if you do need to do that one-time wipe, go ahead and do that. But every single week for the next 3 weeks for 30 minutes, we're going to run through Command MC for 30 minutes for the next 3 weeks and kind of go from there. So if you want your Market Center leadership team to be part of that, I'll post the link in the Slack channel and move from there. But again, Kelly, thanks so much for your time and your wisdom and your expertise.
No, of course. Thank you. And I love that you guys are doing that. I can't wait to hear how it goes, Paul.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.